Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shelley Belton. I am the senior recruiter with the Defense Intelligence Agency for Human Resources. I've been with the agency for a little over 4 years. I came from the private industry and have recently started working with the government. So this has been a great journey for me, and I look forward to many of you hopefully coming on board with DIA. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that the presentation will be about an hour. We will have time for questions and answers at the end. So if you have any questions, please write them down, hold on to them, and we'll be happy to answer them individually for you at the end of the presentation. I am joined today by my colleagues. I have Ms. Janelle Gail Jacobs, who is also with the recruitment team. I have Mr. Brandon Long, who is one of our career development officers with the analysis career field. And then I have Ms. Danielle Francine, who is with Office Management Infrastructure. So we are about to get started. I know we're running a little bit behind. I'm going to turn this over, first part of the presentation, over to my colleague, Janelle. Janelle, over to you.
Thank you, Shelley. Hello, everyone. Let's get started. So DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency. Our mission here is to provide intelligence on foreign militaries to prevent and decisively win wars. In order to do that, our agency has 16,000 employees comprised of both civilians and military officers. 50% of our workforce is stationed outside of DC area. As you can see, our officers are stationed at military bases, combatant commands, U.S. embassies, and we even deploy officers to conflict areas when needed. We have officers in over 140 countries. Here at DIA, we have 5 core missions, values: excellence, teamwork, integrity, initiative, and accountability. Excellence. Excellence. We strive for excellence in our work ethic. We recognize in the privilege and the honor to support and defend our nation. Teamwork. We all work together to identify and neutralize threats and provide intelligence to our customers. Integrity. In our spirits and our actions, we are honest and principled. Initiative. Be innovative and be part of our solution. Accountability. Hold yourself to the highest standard. Take the personal responsibility for your actions and your outcomes. Next slide.
Okay. All right, guys, it looks like the slides are not moving.
It's coming.
Oh. I apologize, technical difficulties here. Let me go out and try and go back in. Okay, everyone. Let me try stop share and try to get back in. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's try that. Okay, let's try. Okay, there we go. All right, Janelle. Sorry about that, everyone.
Okay, I don't see the slides, but everybody can see them.
Can everyone see the slides?
I don't think it popped back up.
No,
we cannot.
ma'am, can't see the slides.
All right, hang in there. Let's try this again. Screen share.
Okay, it's coming up now.
All right, I think we're in business. Okay.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, so the intelligence community is referred to as the IC. We have 18 government agencies that combine to make the IC, a combination of military and civilian-based agencies. Though we all work together and play a part, DIA's role within the IC is to collect intelligence on foreign military capabilities and operations. You can see they're all listed out here. Next slide.
Oh, it keeps freezing every time. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm not sure why this is happening.
I don't know, it froze again.
Yeah. So sorry, everyone.
Next one.
I might just have to try it this way instead of having the whole screen. Can everybody see enough of the slide this way? Can you still see the slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay, we'll just do it this way because it's not allowing me to. The next
Okay,
slide.
thank you guys
Sorry about
for your patience. Okay, here, we produce intelligence from all sources, which results in DIA having the most diverse customer base, as you can see. Our intel helps to mold strategic goals, draft operational plans, and then results in tactical execution. So you can see from the left to the right how that process works. Next slide. All right. We should support our mission through operations, analysis, and science and technology. In order to best support our customers and meet the goals of our mission, the workforce is broken into 10 career fields listed here: analysis, counterintelligence, finance and acquisitions, human intelligence, human services, information technology, mission management, office management and infrastructure, science and technology, and security. Unfortunately, due to time, we can't go into detail for each individual career field, but you will hear from the analysis and the office management and infrastructure careers fields today. We do encourage you to go visit dia.mil, M-I-L, to explore and learn more. Next slide. Okay, our benefits. So similar to all government agencies, jobs come with benefit packages. I do want to point out a few on this screen that sets DIA apart from the rest. The first one is our worldwide presence. Because we are located in over 140 countries, there are opportunities to work and travel to the locations all across the globe. The second one is the Civilian Fitness Program. This program pays you to take up to 3 hours per week and dedicate it to exercise and physical fitness. Whatever it may be, you might want to take a class, walk, swim, yoga, go to the gym, whatever. And the third one is foreign language program. If you are able to speak, read, and write fluently in any language, other than English, I should say another language, DIA may be able to use your skills. You may be eligible to get paid for an additional $20,000 for that language. You would be required to take a test to determine your proficiency. However, if you need some more assistance, DIA does have some in-house language classes in the event that you may need help to get up to proficiency. Next slide.
All right, great.
Okay.
Thank you, Janelle. I will take over the next set of slides, everyone. So here I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the qualities that we look for in our candidates. Some of the qualities, as you can see listed here, one is curiosity. I like to talk about this one. Sometimes people think about curiosity as just someone who's being nosy, you know, always trying to find out what's going on and what things are about. So actually, that's a good thing here at DIA. It's not being nosy, it's curiosity. We like that term better. We like people who are adventurous, who like to find out information, to see what's going on, figure out how things work, etc. So look at that as a great quality. The other one is integrity and personal fortitude. We talk a little bit about this in our values. Here, we just want people who are someone who we can trust, people who are able to, you know, be involved with things that may be uncomfortable and handling situations, and then, you know, respectfully handle them correctly, and then just get back to work. Teamwork. This is one of my number one things. At our agency, teamwork is extremely valuable. No matter what your job is, you're going to always work with various other people, departments. We have to work together as a team. So one of the statements that we have is we are one mission, one agency, and one team. Intellectual humility. That's another great one. I won't get into too many details because we are on a very short time. But one of the other big ones is grammar, logic, and rhetoric. You must be able to write, speak correctly. You deal with a lot of people. Writing is always a big thing at our agency. We even have to write for our promotions. So some of our agencies, some of our career fields, when you apply to the agency, you actually have to give writing samples. And in the top up here, you can see some of the things that we're looking for. We're looking for a lot of candidates with STEM. STEM is huge at our agency. So if you have those qualities, those are all things that we would be looking for in our candidates who come to DIA. Here, I'm going to talk about some of the career broadening opportunities. DIA has a whole lot of opportunities, and that's one of the great things I love about our agency. We like to have you in a position where you're able to not just be stuck in a position, but have opportunity to grow and develop into your career or to explore other areas. And we do this through different things, such as one is deployments, where you have the opportunity to go and work, in other areas, as that was mentioned earlier. We have continuing education with long-term and short-term studies, not only at our institution, but outside of DIA in private institutions. We have an officer development program. Pretty much what that is just they give you extensive education and training for you to be an officer. We're all considered officers at our agency, but we want you to be into more senior level officers. We have mentorship programs. At our agency, we have certified coaches, certified mentors that are all there to help you develop into your career. Sometimes when you're new to the agency or new into the government, and you may, or just be a junior employer coming in, you may not know what to do. You may not know how to apply to your promotion, or if you don't like your position and you want to try something different. Those people are there to help you as you grow into your career to make sure you're successful. We have rotational assignments at our agency. And what that is that you have the opportunity to still be maybe in your career field, but try a different area of the agency for maybe up to a year. Sometimes they may be a little shorter or a little longer, but that gives you the opportunity to explore other areas and to see how you like doing something a little different. And then we have what we call joint duty assignments. This is where you can take 1 to 2 years at a different institution. In the intelligence community. You may want to say, oh, I'm at DIA, but I wonder how things are at FBI, or I wonder how things may be at Homeland Security or CIA. They have the joint duty rotations assignments that allow you to go and work 1 to 2 years at those agencies. And then while you're there, we want you to learn best practices, things that you can bring information back to our agency and share with us on things that may be better, things that you've learned, so that we can all grow and develop together. So now I'm going to talk about some of the expectations of DIA. In order to become an employee at DIA, you must be able to obtain and keep a security clearance. So don't think once you get your security clearance, things can just go haywire. Absolutely not. You have to be able to keep your security clearance. And some of the things listed here will tell you why you may lose your security clearance. One is alcohol use. It's not that you're not allowed to drink. It's just that we don't want anyone who abuses alcohol. So for example, drinking and driving, under the influence, being intoxicated, getting into trouble. Personal conduct. This includes patterns of poor judgment, being involved with people who have criminal activity. So watch your friends, be careful of the people that you're around. You don't want them to get you in trouble. Inappropriate use of social media. This is a big one. The agency, when they're doing the security clearance, they will look at your social media. They want to see what you're about, other things that you may not talk about normally on an interview, or when they're actually trying to see what's going on. They will look into, see who your friends are, what you're doing, your activities. So make sure that if you haven't had things on your social media that aren't appropriate right now, you may want to start cleaning house now and get everything in order, because we want you to be able to get your security clearance. Criminal conduct, that's kind of just self-explanatory. Dealing with theft, fraud, anything that's illegal that can have you get arrested. We don't want that. Drug involvement, this is another big one. Using illegal drugs or misuse of prescription drugs. Those are things that are illegal, as we know. But one of the things that we always get the question about is certain drugs that are considered legal in certain states. If it's not legal through the federal government, it's not considered legal. We will not be able to accept it. So it has to be federally legal for us to be able to accept it. The other thing, psychological conditions, which includes patterns of lying, deception, as we mentioned here, emotionally unstable and violent behavior. So we have 10 different internship programs at our agency. These are just a few that are listed. For the sake of time, I can't get into each one of them. They all have different criteria. They all have different vacancy times that they're open. So please visit our website to look into our different internship programs. Most of our internship programs are paid internships. Our biggest one I'll talk about a little bit is our summer internship program. That program allows you to be able to apply to any of our 10 career fields. It comes out once a year, as all the rest of them do. It opens every year, March 1st, and it closes April 1st. So you have about a month. This is a paid internship program that lasts about 10 weeks during the summer. The great thing about our internships is if you do extremely well, you will be offered a full-time position with our agency. So this is one of the best ways to kind of get into our agency, one of the quickest ways. It gives you the opportunity to see who we are, to see how we operate, and then it gives us the opportunity to evaluate you to see if you would be a great employee for our agency. One of the things I love also about our internship programs, unlike some other internship programs, when you come in, we're not just having you to sit around and just take notes and kind of just see what's going on and observe. We're actually giving you like real work assignments. You're not just doing minimal things like just copying or Xeroxing and answering calls. You will have projects because they want to see how you work. They want to be able to evaluate you and really see if you're able to come in and do a great job at the agency. One of the other ones that we have is that we actually have a STEM, which is the SMART internship program. You may have heard about that. That's specifically for science, math, and STEM students, engineers, etc. So that internship, I believe, opens in either like the fall, sometime in maybe late August, September. I'm not really sure, but we have several internships that you may be interested in and qualify for. So definitely visit our website for that information. Here, I'm going to talk about the eligibility for our internships. One, everyone must be a United States citizen to apply to our internships. You must also be a U.S. citizen in order to apply to any of our vacancy announcements. That is a requirement for the government. For our internships, you also must be enrolled full-time at a U.S. accredited college or university, and you must be enrolled at the start of your internship. So if you're a senior, unless you're planning to go to grad school, you would probably not qualify. We do have you to apply a year in advance before you start the internship. And the reason for that is because you have to be able to get a security clearance, and we allow about a year just to make sure that we're able to get everybody's clearance done in time before the start of the internship. So for example, anyone that may have applied in March of this year, 2023, if you're accepted, you will not actually start until March 2024. So again, every internship you apply, it's a year out. So always think a year out and making sure that you would be able to, when you start, that you'll be enrolled full-time at the start of your internship. And then the other criteria is for you to be able to successfully pass the background check, which includes a polygraph test, as well as drug screening and a security investigation. So that concludes the first part of this presentation from me and OHR. I'm going to turn the second part over to my colleague, Travis Reynolds, who is with the analysis career field. Travis, I'm sorry, I have Travis. Please forgive me for this. We actually had a switch. It's actually Brandon Long. I'm sorry, Brandon. So over to you, Brandon.
I won't hold it against you, Shelley.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Long. I am an analyst by trade, but I am the branch chief for the analysis career field talent management team currently. So among the many things that my team is responsible for is we are in charge of all of the hiring, recruiting, and promotions for the analysis career field. So about 4,000 analysts or analyst billets. And then we do workforce management. So of those 4,000 analysts, we work with all of the combatant commands and different offices across the agency to align talent or personnel with mission needs and move officers around the world. So it's a pretty large responsibility. We're the largest career field within the agency, but it's something that I really enjoy doing. And then I have a collateral duty as a career development officer. So say an analyst isn't really sure about, a career choice that they want to pursue or like a career broadening opportunity. We're here as a secondary resource to provide guidance and kind of help analysts figure out the trajectory of their career path and how they want to, advance their career or identify training opportunities, things like that. So that's one of the more rewarding aspects of what I get to do on a daily basis. I started here at the agency about 6 years ago. I was a prior service active duty Marine, and then I was a defense contractor for a couple years. And then once I got my bachelor's degree, I joined the agency here in 2017 as a Latin American cyber analyst. And then I worked for a couple years doing that. I went over and did Pakistan political military, and then I went over to the Joint Staff on a rotation, and I was the senior intel analyst for South Asia, Afghanistan, and Pakistan there during the Afghan withdrawal. So as luck would have it, I happened to be there at one of the most trying times, but I was the senior advisor for the J2 and ultimately was briefing the chairman pretty much daily on what was transpiring in Afghanistan. So I had a really neat opportunity while I was there to do that. So just an example of some of the more interesting things that you might find yourself, doing through the course of your regular work. So Shelley, since I can't see the slides, are we on the analysis career field slide or the?
It looks like my screen has frozen again. Jeez. Hold on, let's see. Okay, next slide. We're on the analysis career
Okay.
field slide.
Okay, so this is just a brief description of kind of what an all-source analyst does. We are one of two of the IC agencies that actually does all-source analysis. If you think about NSA or NGA, they are very specialized in what they do regarding collection and intelligence production, whereas ourselves and CIA are the only two all-source analyst agencies that utilize different collection platforms and information collected and produced from all the other agencies to formulate a cohesive picture for our executives that consume our intel. So it's a pretty unique opportunity here that not a lot of the other agencies afford. Next slide, Shelley.
Okay.
Okay, so on the right-hand side, you'll see the 6 career specialties within the analysis career field, and I'll talk about those here in a second. But really, when it comes to what is an analyst here at the agency, we're looking for people with diverse backgrounds. Historically, prior to, I would say pre-9/11, this was a very military-heavy organization with not as many civilians. And since 9/11, it's really kind of transformed into a more civilian structured organization. We do have a 3-star general officer as our director, but there's a lot of civilian leadership opportunities throughout the agency, and I would say it's probably a 75-25 split now between civilian and military. And one of the critical reasons for that is I think we identified a number of years ago that the importance of that diverse school of thought coming from academia that was lacking among the military traditionalist thought, and confronting these big picture strategic competition problems that we're dealing with now. It really helps to have people from all walks of life and collegiate and academic backgrounds to help us tackle those problem sets, particularly when we're looking at things like the importance of STEM and AI and ML, machine learning, and things like that going forward. We really need the best and brightest people out there, and so we've really expanded our reach into places like Johns Hopkins to seek your assistance in helping us confront those problems. Next slide, Julie.
Okay.
Okay, and so the first three career specialties of those six, the advanced all source methods is the newest of these career specialties. It's only been around for about a year now, and that's really where we're looking at data science, advanced quantitative methods, AI ML tools and development. I work in the analytic innovation office, and we're kind of unique in the fact that we actually have a majority of the AAM career specialties here in my office, many of which are focused on designing tools and capabilities for the Department of Defense and DIA to help confront and better equip our military in confronting those challenges. And so that's where you'll find the repository of a lot of those AAM specialists. Counterintel and transnational organized crime is the second one there. A lot of that is focused on illicit drug production coming out of any number of regions throughout the world, and then counterintel. Obviously, you're looking at foreign nation counterintelligence threats to DoD mission sets or globally. So, what is Russia, FSB, or GRU doing, against U.S. interest in Europe or Asia? So that could be an example of something you would be tackling under that counter or career specialty. Infrastructure and resources is a really interesting mission set. You're really looking at what drives foreign military capabilities. So whether that's energy, telecommunications, military weapons production, all of that falls within infrastructure and resources of foreign military capabilities. Next slide, Shelley.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Military capabilities is the largest career specialty. It's comprised of I wouldn't say the majority of analysts here at the agency, but it is by far the largest. And that's particularly due to the vast swath of information or accounts that fall within this military capability structure. So you're looking at cyberspace, anything on the ground or in the air, on the ocean. So you're looking at ships, undersea cables, things like that. Just a vast array of different topics that you would touch or cover in the military capabilities career specialty, and it's applicable across the board to any country that you can think of. So that's probably why we have so many military capability specialists here at the agency. Science and tech, pretty self-explanatory when you think about the increase in technology from our partner nations and adversaries. So you're looking at things like development of new technology, or you look at CBRN, so chemical, biological, radiological weapons. What else falls under that? The creation of hypersonic weapons, things like that. So we have various offices around the country that look at these things. NCMI, the National Center for Medical Intelligence, up in Bethesda. You've got MISIC down in Huntsville, Alabama, looking at missile and space capabilities. So we have a very robust science and tech analytic capability that looks at those kind of things. And then strat and regional analysis is really your political military, think political science, just your generalists when you're looking at foreign nations and how their military and civilian infrastructure works together. And last slide, Shelley.
Okay, I have to apologize, everyone. It looks like I forgot to merge that last slide, and I'm sorry, Brandon, you can't see that as well. So everyone, I apologize for that. Thank you, Brandon, for clarifying. And we are now on the last slide.
Okay, and so finally, just to let you know, if you're interested in joining the agency, I know Shelley has sold it very well, way better than I have, I'm sure. But if you're interested in becoming an analyst here at the agency, we do have an upcoming virtual hiring event. We're in the midst of one right now. Our next one the vacancy will be posted in September. and on DIA's homepage. If you do have any interest in gaining more information before then, please reach out to the email address there, analysis_career_field2 at dotus.mil. Somebody on my team will respond to that. It's an actual person, it's not automated, and we will endeavor to get you whatever information you're seeking or talk to you. Anybody on my team is more than happy to pick up the phone and talk to you one-on-one and help you guide or navigate the application process. Also, leading up to the upcoming hiring event in September, we'll do information sessions similar to this, but more geared towards the broader analysis career field and go more in depth than what I was able to provide in the short time period today. But I guess that's all I have regarding the analysis career field, and I'll turn it back over to Shelley and the OMI folks.
Thank you, Brandon. And sorry for again introducing you. So everyone, that was Brandon Long. He will be available to answer any questions again at the end of this presentation that you may have about analysis. All right, so we're going to turn the next part of this presentation over to Ms. Danielle Francine with Office Management Infrastructure. Danielle, over to you.
Thanks, Shelley. So afternoon, everybody. So I'm going to give you a little bit about me. So I came from 10 years of private sector as a visual consultant for Fortune 500 companies. And then I decided I wanted to have a more well-rounded view of my career. So then I started looking for jobs, and the Defense Intelligence Agency really stood out as a place that I could support this nation in a way. So with that, I got hired. I've been with the agency for 15 years. I've worked in about 5 organizations as a project manager. I've deployed to Afghanistan, been a creative director over at the Joint Staff, served as a branch chief for a few creative teams and communication teams. And now I'm an executive officer and career advisor for the Office of Management and Infrastructure, the second largest career field to analysis. So we are considered the enabler of the agency, or what I like to call, since analysis is the heartbeat, OMI is actually the backbone. So we enable them to do their jobs. So we are currently, we are the only career field located in every organization throughout the globe. So we're located throughout 140 countries worldwide. It's also a great organization to get your feet wet and kind of see what the agency is all about. So I'm going to talk you through our 5 focus areas, or what we call career specialties. So staff operations carries out, can you go to the next slide, Shelley? Actually pop through 2, because I kind of covered that one already. So next slide. Thank you. So as I said, we're organized into 5 basically focus areas. So staff operations carry out the day-to-day operations, from working at an embassy to keeping our execs, analysts, or organizations on task to ensure we are following proper military protocol, planning events for the agency. They make everything happen. Without our staff officers really controlling the functions of the office, we'd all kind of be going our own little way. So they're a controlling unit for us, but also they are really great at enabling what we do every day. Our program analysis and management, these like to call the gatekeepers, program analysts and program managers. They manage a wide range of activities, from programs, resources, and operations that support national intelligence objectives and activities. So they are the people that really, they make everything come together. So if, like what Brandon said, in the group that he belongs to under, Brandon, which group do you belong to? Because I know I work with you guys. It's automation and innovation, or innovation.
So I'm in the Analytic Innovation Office.
Aha. So innovation office. So there is a program manager that kind of stands behind to make sure he gets all the resources he needs to support intelligence activities. So within that, there's a lot of different aspects. We have program analysis and management in a few different career fields such as information technology. They have one that is specifically geared towards IT. And then there's the ones that are more geared towards CFO, that are more the financial parts. So those are the business aspects, but they all have the essence of program analysis and management in them. So your program managers and things. So our DIA facilities are located throughout the globe. We have dedicated engineers to build and manage our facilities, and environmental specialists, emergency management to safeguard the workforce within the facilities. Then logistic officers help us get from point A to point B. Without them, we'd all be standing still. You have your warehouse management, logisticians, transportation specialists, and they not only manage the equipment within the agency, but they also ensure our intel analysts and other officers are getting what they need when they need it in the field to support various global missions. And then last but not least, these are our communicators to internal and external audiences. Communications operations and media has over 14 different types of positions. It's kind of the crapshoot of everybody, but they are all geared on cradle to grave communications, and that's how it's kind of built. So from public affairs officers that develop strategies for campaigns and media engagement, to our congressional officers that actually advocate and work with people on the Hill with our key decision makers. And then finally, you have the information management, who they help us respond to public inquiries on requests for information. It keeps us legal with Congress. It keeps us into DoD mandates and also federal mandates. So, but also working within the intel community, we manage a lot of information. So technical information specialists, they are able to meta tag and everything else to get the analysts what they need if it's something that is far reaching a potential. They allow them to do their job. They enable them. Analysts do research, but this kind of is an extra arm to help them go a little deeper that they may not have realized that they needed to go. And it's all wrapped around enabling our analysts and our intel functions throughout DIA. With that, Shelly, it's up to you.
All right, thank you, Danny. All right, let's go down to, let's see. All right, so everyone, you've heard just a very little bit about DIA. You've heard from our analysis career field, and you've heard from office management infrastructure. So we have 10 total career fields. A lot more of them deal with the intelligence side, and then a lot more with operations as well. So I'm sure there's something that you would be a great fit for you to come into our agency. But please, again, visit our website, www.dia.mil, M like Mary, I-L. Now, after you've heard such great information, I'm hoping you guys are excited and kind of ready to join our team. The way that you would have to start the process is the first thing you have to do is submit an application by going to that website that I mentioned, finding a vacancy announcement that you would be interested in. I always tell people, don't limit yourself to just one vacancy. Apply to as many things that you think you're interested in and that you qualify for. Don't limit yourself. You probably have skills that go across the board for some of our career fields. After you submit an application, the next step is for it to be reviewed by our hiring managers. After that, if they think that you're a great fit, you will be contacted by email for an interview. So make sure that you constantly look for things in your email. Look at your email and look for an invitation. Check your spam. Sometimes our emails will go to your spam. So check your spam, check your email frequently, because that's how they send out invitations, through email for an interview. After that, the next step, if you have the interview and you're successful, the great thing I like about our agency is they notify you right away. They don't have you wait around for weeks at a time or even months to find out if you were accepted for the job. They will notify you either that same day or the very next day. If you are accepted, you will get a conditional job offer. And the reason it's a conditional job offer is because it's based on if you pass the security clearance. So the very next step is after the interview, if you're accepted, is to get a conditional job offer. Then our security process will start immediately. You will be contacted about getting a drug screen, and then all the other next steps. You'll have paperwork to fill out and a bunch of other things in order to get your clearance. After the security clearance is completely done, the next step will be you will be notified if you pass the security clearance. So that is also done through email. Again, check your email. Once you have passed your security clearance, you will then go into our hiring pool. And at that time, the hiring managers will then find those people, filtered through to see who's been hired, who's been cleared. And then you will be contacted by a hiring manager. At that time, you will get a real phone call from someone. So they will contact you to offer you the position, and then you go from there. And that's pretty much the final steps for the process of being hired. So this next slide that I'm showing you are just a few tips to help you have a successful application. If you look on here, if you have, I know they're going to videotape this, but if you have your cell phones and you want to take a picture of the screen right now, feel free to do so. Make sure when you fill out that, you have to know that you have to fill out an application. That's one of the important things here. You can't just attach your resume because it will not be looked at. You have to fill out the actual application step by step. Make sure to include all experience. Don't sell yourself short. If you don't have a lot of experience, you can use research from your school that you may have completed, any of your coursework related to the area that you're applying to. You want to make sure that if you speak a foreign language fluently, or even if you don't speak fluently, but make sure to include that. If you're conversational, if you're studying a language, always include that, because languages are huge for our agency. If you have a high GPA, include that on your application. We look at you as an individual. So if you don't have a lot of experience, we look at, leadership. We're looking for leadership skills, some of the things that was mentioned earlier. So if you've been a captain of a team, or if you've been held a position for any organization, those are all leadership skills that we would be looking for. If you've been on a team, because I mentioned teamwork, you want to speak about working as a team together, how you collaborate with each other, how you interact, all those type of things, working with different people from other areas and different backgrounds from you. List those type of things. Customer service is also big at our agency. So when you're looking at the vacancy announcement, look for what they're asking for as well. If you don't have a lot of experience, think outside the box and try to, just think about you as an individual, how we can look at you, bring you in, develop you into your career. One of the other things, make sure that you check all your application before you hit the submit button. Once you hit submit, that's it. Unfortunately, you can't go back and say, oh, I forgot to put an attachment. Oh, I forgot to add this. Just take your time, look at your application very carefully, and then hit submit, and then apply, apply, apply. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Here's just some important takeaways. Some of the things I've already mentioned. As I said, apply, apply, apply. Sometimes it's just a numbers game. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, as this slide is showing here. You want to kind of like branch out to as many career fields as you're interested in. Getting into the agency is the biggest thing that you want to do. Once you get in the agency, you have the opportunity to move around, to go into other career fields, other positions. You just want to get in. If you don't get it on your first try, don't worry about it. There are people that may not get in for whatever reason the first time. So don't give up. Just keep applying for other positions. You want to kind of know why you want to come into the agency. Think about it. It's very competitive. So make sure that you express everything in paper first on your application, so that you stand out different from other applicants. And again, I mentioned already about if you don't have a lot of experience, things you should do. So hopefully this helps you. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this presentation. It's now time for questions and answers, which allows you the opportunity to ask us anything that may help you make a decision about coming to DIA. So feel free. I think Janelle, you can put your question in the chat, or you can raise your hand, which may be a little easier because I know we have quite a few participants. So feel free to raise your hand and just address who you would like to ask the question to. Okay, over to you, Johns Hopkins students. And Janelle, let me know if I can't see on the screen, but let me know if you see any questions, and feel free to read them aloud if you see them.
Yep, there is a question for Brandon Long. What should a candidate for an analysis career field do to excel and stand out during the interview phase?
So if you make it to the interview phase, I'll tell you the process is we'll have a panel of 3 senior officers who will ask 5 questions in a round robin format. You'll have 30 minutes total, so we recommend about 5 minutes per answer, and then an additional 5 minutes for question and answer at the end. But what we're really looking for is diversity of thought, people who are high energy, who are thoughtful in their responses, and who show an inquisitive, nature, somebody that expresses a desire to really be at the agency, and a willingness to learn, somebody that's humble. One of the biggest turnoffs in an interview is to have that kind of know-it-all attitude. So I can tell you that showing your ability to identify that you might not know all the answers, but you have the desire to learn, and you are adaptable. So I would say those are probably the biggest traits to successfully navigating the interview process.
Thank you, Brandon.
Hmm?
I had a hand up. I think you put it down. Okay. There was a question in the chat. What is the timeline between application and decision/start? Does anybody want to answer that, or?
I'll jump in, and Danny and Brandon, if you want to piggyback off it. So each career field is different. There isn't an exact start. A time frame that we can give. It's for our agency. The thing that's a little different than some other agencies. We don't have computers that actually check all the applications or read them or pre-screen them. We have individual career development officers and managers and hiring managers that actually look at every application that comes into our system for the vacancies. So for analysis, they're like the largest career field, as they mentioned. They get hundreds of applications that come in maybe for one vacancy announcement. So the time frame that it may take them to look at every application to make a decision may be a little bit longer than maybe some of our other career fields. But it just really depends on how many applications actually come in. It could take a month, it could take 2 months, but it really varies for each career field and each position and how many vacancy announcements. So we don't really have a specific time frame that we can give. But Brandon and Danny, you guys may have something different that you can add to that.
Yeah. So I'll just put it in perspective for the analysis career field. So for this current iteration that we're going through right now, our vacancy was open from April 1st till the 30th, at which point we had approximately 1,600 applicants. That was whittled down to right around 1,000 that were deemed qualified for the application. It then goes through a corporate review of the resume, and that is done over the course of a week. And then the writing sample that is done is then adjudicated in a similar fashion by panelists. And we are on course right now to conduct the actual virtual interviews in August. And so you're looking at April to May, May to June, June to July. So about a 4-month window from the application to the actual interview. Once you interview, like Shelley said, you'll find out within a couple hours likely, and no more than 24 to 48, but it's typically a really quick turnaround, at which point, once you receive that conditional job offer, that's when you'll begin the process of actually joining the agency. So you'll receive instructions for your drug test, your poly, things like that, and that's completely dependent on security and the time frame in which they can process your background investigation.
So this is Danny. So with OMI, it is similar to what you're going to experience with ACF. That's why we always tell you to apply. So even if you've applied and accepted a conditional job offer from a different hiring event and you see a vacancy that's open, apply to both. Nothing is going to keep you don't get penalized for applying for more than one job. It just means that you are putting more eggs in your basket. It's not a short-term process. It's actually a lengthy process. So you're kind of in for the long haul. So really utilize, it's really important when you are writing your resume. If you're applying for the analysis career field, do not use the same resume that you use for OMI. We are looking for two separate skill sets. So try and customize them to what the VA is asking for. You'll have better chances at that rather than just, taking one resume and just applying it to several different positions. So make it count is more what I'm saying.
Okay, any other questions, Janelle, in the chat? Janelle, can you hear me?
I apologize, I was on mute.
Okay. Is there any hand raised? I can't, like I said, I can't see from this end. Does anyone, if
No
anyone has
hand.
any questions, you can just unmute your mic and feel free to just ask a question as well.
I guess I think I had a follow-up question just regarding like the mathematical statistician or data science positions that I believe David had cited a little bit earlier. Are those positions primarily focused on counterintelligence alone, or are there like other applications or fields like cryptography or like spatial analysis or geospatial analysis that are also like areas where we could be able to work on? Or does it just, I guess you had alluded to rotations, so I'm guessing that we would have the opportunity to essentially work in different capacities across the agency?
Yeah, so for those STEM related positions like that, there's certain billets or positions that are coded as such, and they can be found in any number of offices based on the mission set that they have. Most of them are, so like say a cyber specialist. We have the need for those in various locations here at headquarters within like regional centers, because we're looking at specific countries and their cyber capabilities, but there's also the opportunity to work at NSA or Cybercom. Any of the combatant commands utilize the same billets and requirements for analysts there. So the opportunity to apply that STEM related specialty, whether it be statistician or whatever that capability is that you bring to the table, it's going to be applicable to multiple mission sets. So you're not keyholed into one specific place or opportunity, and you're never going to be able to break out of that. With the emerging technology landscape globally, we're seeing more and more applications and need for those specialized capabilities within the analysis career field applied to any number of mission areas that might not be commonly thought of as needing that. So there's really a plethora of opportunities going forward for anybody that has a STEM related specialty.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep, no worries.
Okay, BC, any other questions? If for some reason we haven't received your question in the chat for something, make sure that you feel free just to unmute your mic and ask your question. Okay, Janelle, do you see anything?
I do. Somebody just sent something. I was replying to people were. For analysis department, what level job should master students apply for in ML and DS?
So for the entry level vacancies that we run 3 times a year, those are going to be your GG 7 to 10 is what we consider entry level, and the pay grade that you come in as is going to be based on a number of factors, and that's going to be a conversation that OHR has with you when they get ready to extend you your final job offer. We at the analysis within the career field itself really don't have a say on what pay grade you come in as. That's an OHR function, and Shelley might be able to talk more on that, or maybe not. But we really don't have any purview or say on what you come in as based on a degree that you might have.
So pretty much what you said is correct, Brandon. It is based, they make a decision based on your education, your experience, and pretty much that's kind of your education experience. We don't have actually just like really standards. It's based on your interview. It's a couple of things that are put in place. It is discussed with you at that time, for your salary. So that's, I mean, pretty much what Brandon said is correct. And each person is different. All right, next question. Janelle, do you see anything else? Like any other questions?
I'm going back in case I missed something.
If your question was in the chat and it was not answered, please just unmute your mic and ask your question. We hope we don't miss anyone. We know there's a lot of conversation going on, so just unmute your mic.
Thank you, Danielle, for helping out with the chat. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. So there is a question down at the bottom. It says, hello, if someone applies to vacancy positions and their application does not yet move forward, are they immediately considered for other positions that may be a better fit, or they must apply to something else themselves?
Okay, so I can take that one. You actually have to apply for a different position. So your application is not moved to another position or another career field, or for someone else to look at. You would need to actually, apply to every, that's why I kind of mentioned just apply. And even if you get turned down, don't feel bad about it or say I didn't get in. It happens all the time. I've had people tell me they applied like 5 or 6 times, and this is not an exaggeration, before they actually got into the agency where they were turned down and they applied again. So you would just need to, as we've been, telling you all along, apply to other career fields. The vacancy announcements come out at different times of the year. Each career field will have vacancy announcements come out several times for different positions. So you constantly want to monitor the applicant, the website for positions. Even if you've already applied for something and you see something else come out like a month or so later, apply for that as well. If you get multiple job offers, the great thing is you have the opportunity to now see what you really want to do. You have, more, as we say, more eggs in your basket. So definitely apply. Don't stop applying until you actually get in the door. And then once you're in, you have the opportunity to, apply for other positions a lot quicker and working with our agency.
So this is Danny, true story. It took me 3 applications to actually even try and, I don't know if you guys know this, but writing to federal government resumes are very different than writing to private sector resumes. They're just different. So it's a whole language barrier that got me. But working in private industry, it's 2 pages. In government, it is give me everything and we will sort through it. But it took me 3 tries to actually even get an interview. So that's not uncommon.
And I'll chime in. When she says give me everything, she means give us everything that you can sell yourself on to make you a competitive candidate. I can tell you, we just went through the resume review for this current iteration, and I was part of the panel that scored those resumes. And I'll tell you, some of the most impressive ones were people that had jobs that you would never consider as being applicable to analysis career field. We had somebody that worked at Disney World, and they talked about they started as an entry level summer employee, and they worked themselves all the way up until they were running the biggest show that they do every year. And they talked about the lessons learned in navigating that journey and what it meant to them to develop themselves and into a leader and those kinds of things. Another one that we had works at a pawn shop, and they talked about the different analytics abilities that they've developed in identifying different things that come into the pawn shop and things like that. So it's not your typical like, oh, I speak 5 languages and I did a summer abroad studying intelligence analysis. Give us everything and talk about how that ties into you wanting to be an analyst and the things that you've learned is my pitch.
Thanks, Brandon. That was great advice. Anything else?
I think that was the last one.
Right. We have a little bit
Again.
of time. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say again, if we did overlap or skip over your question on accident, please unmute and ask. But I think we're good for right now, Shelley. Back to you.
Okay. I know we have a little bit of extra time. Brandon, I know you have a very interesting background, and maybe you want to talk, if you don't mind, maybe sharing some of your experiences. I know with, working in other areas with the agency and
spot, Shelley.
Yeah, but you have such a great story.
I appreciate that.
Think it's
I was a freshman in college when 9/11 happened, and I dropped out that following semester and I enlisted in the Marine Corps. So I spent 5 years in the Marine Corps. I did 4 deployments to Iraq during that time, all in Al Anbar province. I was in Fallujah in 2004, and I was in Ramadi in 2005, 6, and 7. So pretty much the worst places to be at the worst time during Iraq. Was fortunate enough to make it out of there unscathed, but I decided I was going to get out, but I still wanted to pursue a career in intelligence, so I became a defense contractor, and I went back in 2008. I was a human collection manager at the J2X in Baghdad, and then I came back to the States, and I worked doing NSA strategic target development. So I worked at INSCOM under NSA for a couple of years, doing some problem sets there. And then I got the itch to go back to Iraq again. So I spent 2 more years there doing personnel recovery. So I was embedded with Special Forces as the senior intel analyst for personnel recovery, looking to locate and repatriate our kidnapped and missing in Iraq. And then once I got done with that, I came back to the States and decided that I wanted to become a government civilian. So I went back to school and got my degree. And then I joined the agency as a Latin American cyber analyst, of all things. Never worked in Latin America, had no idea besides where Colombia was. And I ended up becoming the SIA, or the senior intel analyst there for my team. I had the really cool opportunity to be DIA's representative to the first Latin American Cyber Conference. So I went down there and I got to brief the president of Colombia. I helped 2 of our defense assistant secretaries navigate and create the first intel sharing agreement with a couple of our partner nations there. And then I got to spend 3 weeks in Chile working with our Chilean counterparts on their cyber defense capabilities. So I really got to do some interesting and really fun things, all on the government's dime. And you heard early in the brief that we're in 140 countries globally, pretty much every embassy around the world, every combatant command from South Korea to Germany, the UK. We have offices in London. We have a place in Bahrain that you can work out of. There's numerous opportunities for you to travel and go do some really neat things that you would not have the opportunity to do otherwise. So I love it here. I plan to spend the rest of my career at the agency. And I hope that, one day, we run into each other in the halls. Please feel free to stop and say hi. And I'll be happy to help you guys navigate your career someday, hopefully. So really hope we have the opportunity to work together.
Wow. Thank you, Brandon. That was awesome. I do have one last question that I came upon. I don't think we were answered. Can anyone tell me where I might find information on the DIA career field in communications and public affairs?
I will copy
Okay.
it into the chat.
Okay. Thank you very much, Danielle. And I think that was all we had so far, Shelley.
All right, great. Thank you, Janelle. So everyone, please keep in mind that we have positions at our agency that almost any major from any university would have. So we kind of just touched on 2 of our career fields. As I mentioned, we actually have 10. And we even have positions for finance and acquisition, as we mentioned earlier. That go across the board, even with our security. A lot of times people hear security and they're thinking about just police officers or security guards, but our security career field goes in so many different areas. We have investigators, there's the cyber part of security as well, and a bunch of other things. So please just visit our website, and when you go into our website, go into careers, and each of the career fields will have a different a different area that they talk specifically about their positions, what their career field does, kind of like what you heard today, but you may get a little bit different information than what you may have originally thought about. So please visit our website and apply to all of our vacancies. So I will turn this, we just, like I said, have a few minutes left. We have about a little less than 15 minutes. Yasser, is there anything that you would like to ask or mention or ask of us?
No, I believe that you cover everything, Shelley. And then I really appreciated students, like all the questions that you asked. Again, we recorded this. If you are still in the call and join a little bit late, no worries, is because I'm going to be sending you all the link shortly. Shelley and the team really appreciate it. Looking forward to for future, collaborations.